Water is cold.
Nah, I need my food.
When you ready? Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah, it's a lot of good trainers, but I went with the best. It was the best trainer that fits me.
The Houston humidity is different from Dallas, right?
Yeah. It's a big difference. That's the main thing.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, man. It's a big difference.
3 years. The last time everybody seen you in the ring, there's, I guess, you even said yourself, like, you didn't have to come back to boxing, but it's just something that you wanted to do. How have you prepared yourself mentally, for this fight versus Tszyu?
Me just training to my best abilities, training hard, focusing, listening to my coach, and just getting back down to the basics and what got me here.
This is where things start getting really interesting, because rumors have been circulating across Australia that Gervonta Davis could make a surprise visit to Errol Spence's training camp before fight night. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but just imagine the reaction if Tank suddenly walked through those gym doors.
And with both superstars in the fine-tuning stage, secrecy is crucial. That's why Davis made sparring the most important element of any camp, off limits to cameras. But his team's visible confidence hints at his readiness.
Hey, you having fun, ain't you?
Knowing what I can do and knowing that what I want to do, I don't see him coming back anytime soon or ever. Outside the ring is nothing but respect. I respect his legacy. I respect him as a person. I respect his humility and things like that. But once that bell rings, once you get in the ring, all the respect goes out the window. And it's basically a young line on the old line, and I'm finna take his kingdom.
and when you have a chance to make it out, it gives you that different look on life. It make you dream bigger than just your small town or your hard times that you've been through. It's crazy to me that who would know I would be that guy. I knew I'd be big, but I never knew that I would be like the guy that actually break them doors.
You already know social media would lose its mind within minutes, and honestly, it would make perfect sense from a motivational standpoint. Tank and Spence have always shared mutual respect, and having one of boxing's biggest stars around the camp could add another layer of confidence and intensity during the final stretch of preparation. Just picture it for a second.
Tired of that. You can holler back. Yeah. You know how I got him cracked. Calvin believed in me. Calvin believed in me no matter what. That's what was the important piece of me staying focused and I know I have somebody that's counting on me. Calvin was making sure that I was on the right track. And whoever go against me, Cal was standing beside me. You know what I mean? Cal was that guy that had my back for sure.
We do. Get ready for this.
Spence is grinding through his final rounds. Ronnie Shields is calling out instructions, and then Gervonta Davis is standing ringside watching every move, offering advice, cracking jokes, and reminding everyone what a championship mentality looks like. Even if he never throws a punch in the gym, his presence alone would instantly become one of the biggest talking points of fight week. Of course, we have to treat this as nothing more than speculation for now, because there has been no official confirmation from either camp. But Boxing fans know how these stories work. Sometimes a single photo, a short video clip, or one airport sighting is all it takes for the internet to explode. The timing certainly has people talking.
What's training look like for camp to tail it off and get it ready in Australia? Do you have a gym here already organised and everything rolling?
Well, actually, we have a few people been contacting us about it, so we'll sit down tonight and figure out what's best for us.
What do you want to see from Errol in this fight? Like, obviously the W is most important, but like, what sort of performance?
Oh, I mean, I just want Errol to be Errol. Just want him to be himself, not pushing him to be anything other than who he is. And, you know, he's going to do what he know how to do. So, you know, we feel confident that that's going to be enough to win.
Can he knock Tim Tszyu out?
Well, you know, I've never trained a guy to go into a fight thinking he's going to knock somebody out. You know, that would be that would be against my training will to do that. You know, this fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. That's what we train for.
Spence is preparing for the biggest comeback fight of his career, while Tank has always shown support for fighters he respects. If the rumors turn out to be true, expect cameras to follow every second of that visit, because it would send a message that Team Spence is bringing every bit of championship experience possible into this camp. Whether it actually happens or not, the possibility alone has already added another fascinating storyline to an event that somehow keeps getting bigger with every passing day. One thing is certain, the closer we get to fight night, the more surprises boxing seems determined to throw our way.
And obviously the experience to be in Australia and fight overseas, you've done that, you know, the UK with Kell Brook, and how do you think this experience will be?
Oh, the experience will be dope. I'm going to enjoy it a lot. It's going to be a dope event, and you know, something I've been used to. Even when I was in the amateurs, I fought overseas a lot, so it's not something that I'm unfamiliar with at all. So I'm gonna take it all in, enjoy the whole process, and you know, when I come out, hopefully everybody won't boo me, and put on a great.
Gervonta Davis possibly stopping by the camp has already fueled the conversation, and Shakur Stevenson just poured even more attention onto this fight by making it crystal clear where he stands. There was no fence sitting, no carefully balanced prediction designed to keep everybody happy. Shakur backed Errol Spence, and I think that says something because fighters usually see details the rest of us miss. He talked about Spence being mentally tough and called him a dog when it comes to fighting, and honestly, that has always been one of Errol's biggest weapons.
What about Errol Spence? Errol Spence is back.
Yeah.
Fighting Tim Tszyu, been on first fight since fight with 2023 with Bud. How you feeling about that?
I think he's gonna do good. I wish Errol the best. I hope Errol go in there and beat Tim Tszyu up. I'm a Errol Spence fan. I was cool with Errol Spence, especially before that Bud fight a long time ago. He was a cool dude, so I'm with Errol Spence. I want Errol Spence to prosper.
Skills can fade, timing can disappear for a night, but that stubborn refusal to break has carried Spence through some brutal moments in his career. At the same time, I would not be so quick to write Tim Tszyu off just because another champion picked against him. If anything, Tszyu probably enjoys hearing this. The more respected fighters line up behind Spence, the bigger the opportunity becomes for Tim to flip the entire conversation upside down. That is what makes this matchup so entertaining. We are not talking about one fighter everyone believes is unbeatable. We are talking about two men with something to prove, while the boxing world keeps splitting into different camps.
And that fight is over in Australia too.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think I don't think Tim Tszyu could beat Errol.
Yeah.
Like I know Errol is mentally tough. Errol is a dog when it comes to fighting. So I don't think Tim Tszyu could beat him.
One side is betting on Spence's experience, toughness, and championship pedigree. The other believes Tsyu's activity, momentum, and home advantage will be too much to overcome. I also like that Shakur's opinion was based more on mentality than flashy predictions. He was not promising a spectacular finish or trying to create headlines. He simply believes Spence is built differently when the pressure is at its highest, and there is value in that perspective coming from someone who understands elite-level competition. But here is the part one keep coming back to. Predictions are free. Australia is not. Once that first bell rings, nobody gets extra points because another world champion picked them to win. Spence still has to prove the long layoff means nothing, and Tszyu still has to prove that this is truly his division. Now, that is exactly why this fight has everyone talking.
But it goes to show that sometimes it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's how you lose that makes the difference, right? And sometimes how you win that keeps you off of fights. But, you know, I think this, and Errol Spence, you know, who was highly regarded going into the Keith Thurman, into the Crawford fight. And now you see what Crawford did, you realize, wow, you know, Crawford's really that good. You know, he's that, maybe we underestimated him because he's really that good. So what he did to Spence might not appear as such a big surprise now.
And after hearing fighters pick sides, it was refreshing to hear Russ Anber pull the conversation back to what actually makes this matchup special. He was not interested in handing out easy predictions because, as Russ pointed out, the unanswered questions are the entire attraction. I could not agree more. If we already knew who was going to win, nobody would be counting down the days. Russ made an interesting point about Errol Spence that I think a lot of people overlook. The more Terence Crawford keeps proving he is on another level, the less shocking that loss starts to look. Sometimes history quietly rewrites a result without anyone noticing. Then Russ flipped the spotlight back onto Tim Tszyu, reminding everyone that losses do not always tell the whole story. He brought up the Fundora War, the Bakram fight, and how those nights shaped Tszyu, rather than simply defining him. That is boxing. Sometimes a fighter leaves the ring with an official loss but gains something far more valuable: respect. I also liked how Russ refused to oversell things he did not know.
Tim's had a lot of pressure on him, you know, from the very beginning, obviously carrying the Tszyu name. And you know, he had that bloody war with Sebastian Fundora, you know, which endeared him to a ton of people because, you know, obviously the cut and the blood made it look terrible. You know, it was awful. I don't know if it was, you know, whether it was physically dangerous, but it was ugly as hell. You know, it was bad that it happened. And, you know, but a lot of people got the attention. He got a lot of people's attention.
Instead of pretending to be an expert on Jeff Fenech's coaching, he admitted there were still questions while making it clear that Fenech's reputation as a fighter is beyond debate. That kind of honesty is rare in boxing conversations where everybody suddenly becomes an overnight expert. At the same time, Russ had nothing but praise for Ronnie Shields, calling him one of the few elite fighters who successfully became an elite trainer. And that matters because championship corners are often judged only after the final bell. Here is what really stuck with me, though. Russ kept bringing the conversation back to pressure. Pressure on Spence to prove he still belongs. Pressure on Tszyu to show he can bounce back. Pressure on Fenech to justify the faith placed in him. It almost feels like everybody involved is carrying something into this fight, not just the two men throwing punches. And maybe that is exactly why this matchup refuses to stop grabbing our attention, because somebody is about to answer every question while somebody else is about to face a whole new set of them.
And then now he's putting himself almost in a very precarious situation of he has to live up to being Jeff Fenech, the trainer, and has to perform. And Tszyu has got to win, you know, to keep Jeff's legacy going, to say, yeah, I can do this. And he's taken a big task on his shoulders, I would think, as a trainer in working with Tim Tszyu. And Ronnie, well, I could talk now on the contrary for Ronnie, I could talk, you know, I wax poetic on him. You know, he's proven, I know Ronnie very well, we're good friends, and you know, he's proven himself to be one of the few fighters who has proven to be able to have made the transition from world-class top-flight fighter to world-class top-flight trainer.
And those unanswered questions Russ Anber kept talking about are exactly why opinions are now flying in every direction, because even Errol Spence's body language has become a debate. Fan Boxing looked at Spence's arrival and admitted he was nervous. Not because Errol looked weak, but because he almost looked too peaceful. I actually laughed when he said Spence seemed happier than a man about to walk into one of the toughest fights of his career. Because that is the strange thing about elite athletes. Some people expect a fighter to be pacing around like a caged tiger 24 hours a day, while others believe the most dangerous version is the one whose heartbeat never changes. Fanon kept wondering whether Spence could flip the switch from enjoying family life and inner peace back into full fight mode. And I understand why fans are asking that question after such a long break. At the same time, we have heard Ronnie Shields describe a completely different picture inside the camp.
They got worries, man. And the worries are the following, bro. Errol looks too calm. He looks too calm. He looks too happy. He looks too at peace. He looks like he's still out there on that island, man. He looks like he's still out there in Jamaica with his pops on that farm that land that they built, man. He just looks like his eyes are just far off into the future. I just do not get a sense that, you know, he's coming in there, that he doesn't give the vibe of just animal mode vibe.
Saying Spence never stopped working and stayed disciplined throughout the layoff. Those two ideas can exist together, and that is what makes this so fascinating. Then Fanon shifted the conversation to Tim Tszyu, reminding everyone that Tim is not walking into this fight looking for a paycheck. He is fighting for the biggest statement of his career in front of his own supporters. That is where the tension really lies. One side believes Spence's calm is confidence. The other worries it could be comfort. Personally, I have learned never to judge a fighter by airport clips or short interviews. Cameras capture smiles. They do not capture 12-round sparring sessions. They see a relaxed face, not the work happening behind closed doors. If anything, this is exactly the type of psychological chess match that makes boxing so addictive. Every fan is looking at the same footage and somehow seeing a completely different story. The only camera that matters now is the one pointed at the ring when that opening bell finally sounds, because that is where every theory gets tested and every rumor disappears.
I'm telling you, Errol is getting big money for this fight. Tim Tszyu is trying to get a signature win in his career. He's fighting in his own city. He's fighting in his hometown, and he's a very good fighter. He's a dangerous fighter. And the biggest issue with physical issue with Errol versus Tim Tszyu is going to be punch resistance, and how well Errol can take the shots of Tim Tszyu. And if Errol is not 100% focused, 100% locked in, those shots are going to land. Some of those shots are going to land. And you saw, like, when he fought Terrence Crawford, he got knocked down by a jab to his upper chest. So, like, I'm worried.
So now there is nothing left to analyze. The predictions have been made, the rumors have spread, the experts have spoken, and both camps believe they are ready. The only thing left is fight night. Will Errol Spence complete one of boxing's biggest comeback stories? Or will Tim Tszyu defend his home turf and prove this is his time? We are about to find out. Now I want to hear from you. Who wins and how does it happen? Drop your prediction down in the comments, because this one is going to split the boxing world. And yo, do not ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxiverse. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.